Yo, what is happening, guys? Nathan back once again with another episode of the Unplugged Freedom Podcast. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about the simulation that we are living in. Have you ever heard the theory that we are living in a simulation? It's an interesting theory, most definitely, and sometimes I wonder if that is true. There's a lot of things in this world that are absolutely crazy. There are a lot of things in this world that don't make sense. You'll see videos of people who show these videos of planes that are just like sitting in one spot, and they're really interesting. There's all kinds of cool things, but I almost wonder sometimes that maybe we're not necessarily living in a simulation, that we are those who are in control of those who are in control basically have realized that they can actually create a simulation out of the real world. And so what I mean is that they realize, hey, wait a minute, these are just biological computers walking around, which means if we can just input certain information, then we will get a certain result on the output. Just the very same as with a computer. You put in 1 + 1, you're going to output 2. You tell the computer one thing, it's going to output another thing. And so they've realized that. And what I mean is simply that you have these people who they turn on the news, they get their programming, and they follow it without question. They never question it, they never think about it, and they just follow it. They just follow their program. Especially in today's world, you can easily see this. You can easily see this programming. So how I kind of put it into perspective is, let's say if you were playing a video game, you are the character that you're in control of, so you have free will, right? So you're able to move here, go there, go that way. In the video game, you're going to run into other, let's say, characters. So let's say there's a character walking down the street, and you get into a car, you take your car and you put it in front of that character that's just walking down the street, the sidewalk, let's say. Well, the character, if it's let's say bad programming, it'll just kind of keep trying to follow its suit, its route, and so it's just kind of like running into the vehicle, doesn't know what to do. It's just running into it. So then there's better AI technology where it recognizes, hey, there's something in my way, I have to go in that direction, so I am going to go out of my way and then continue to go into my direction. So then there's other ones where, let's say that simple kind of AI, you go up to them, you punch them in the face, okay? And so, but they may just like get hit and just keep going, and you get up in their face and you hit them and you hit them and you hit them, and they just keep going in their path. They just have a route that they follow. You're like, okay. And this could be a vehicle driving down the street, and you get in front of it. It could just stop because it's still trying to go, or it could have the ability to recognize that something's in front of it and then go around you and then continue on their path. So in today's world, how this is relevant is that you have the ability to see a lot of these people that are out there today. You have the ability to come forth to them with facts, logic, and common sense. And you're like, hey, look, the CDC is corrupt, and here's proof. Hey, look, the FDA is corrupt and has a history of corruption. Here's proof. Hey, the media lies and continues to lie and will continue to lie unless we do something about it. Here's proof. So you can pile on these facts, logic, and common sense to these people, but they're running on a program that is just going, they just have a route. They're just like, I'm told that I'm supposed to do this, I'm supposed to buy a house, I'm supposed to have a job for 50 years of my life, I'm supposed to have kids, I'm supposed to buy a house, I'm supposed to retire and then enjoy retirement on the beach and just sip pina coladas. And And so, not to say that there's anything bad about having kids or buying a house or any of that stuff, but I'm just saying that that's the program that they're running on. It's just very simple, it's very basic. And so you come in and you're like, hey, check out these facts, check out this logic, check out this common sense. And then they just see it, they look at it, they're kind of like, their brain can't process it because it goes against their programming. And then they just, you're kind of like, so what do you think? Like, it's right in front of you, black and white, plain as day. What do you think? And they just look at it, and then they continue on their path. They go down to the clinic and they roll up their sleeve to get their jabs, and you're like, what? Like, I just gave you information as to how this whole system is corrupt, like straight up blatant facts, and there you are, first in line to continue to roll up your sleeve. Like, what? And so that's how I kind of put it into perspective, is that, the simulation that we're in, maybe it's a real world, but they've just realized that we're biological computers, and that's, why they take control of us. At least they try to take control of us right from a young age, from kindergarten all the way through to our high school, adult age, everything. And then they just program us. Because if you look at some of the people who are going to university, they are some of the most deep into this whole world that we're in right now. I'll be driving by a bus stop in Vancouver, and there's one person standing at a bus stop all by themselves. They look young, like a student, like they got that typical student look to them. And I'm looking around. I'm the only vehicle that I can see for miles, and they're standing there by themselves, wearing their mask, just patiently waiting. I'm like, I don't see a bus anywhere. I don't see another soul anywhere. And there you are. And these are some of the most educated people that we have. And it's absolutely wild to see how they are the most brainwashed by it. So, which kind of also goes with the theory that the education system is nothing more than a programming or a indoctrination service. And I'm not knocking school, right? Like, if I want a doctor, I want my doctor to go to the best school, because I've dealt with enough bad doctors before in my life. So of course I would want the best chiropractor, the best massage therapist, the best doctor, the best dentist, right? So I'm not knocking that, but I'm just saying that we have to have the ability to be able to recognize what we're going into. So if you want to be a doctor, at least recognize and know what you're going into and be prepared for it. So it's really interesting. But I've seen it time and time again with people who I've given information to, who I've shown them, and they're just kind of like, that you almost think that they've got it. But then next thing you know, they're rolling up their sleeve to get their jabs, and they're posting their Facebook photo saying, I got my shots. And you're just like, wait, what? Like, did you not? Like, what? And it's just absolutely wild. So that's how I picture them. Like, I'm the character who has the free will, who has the free ability to move around, and I'm interacting with these people who are just running on a certain program. So when you unplug them, either from the matrix, from the system, whatever it is, you're unlocking them from the ability, you're unlocking them from that programming. And really, I always say, like, a lot of what I've learned over the years was having to unlearn a lot of the things that I was taught. So it was that was probably one of the toughest things. So it's very interesting to see this world that we're living in. It is very similar to like a video game, when you see these people just kind of running on a program, and you can't change their mind otherwise. I have a very open mind towards, let's say, relationships, and especially when I'm up north here in British Columbia, Canada, if I'm talking to somebody and expressing that open-mindedness and that idea towards relationships, they're just kind of like, they come in and they're like, I'm looking for a husband. I'm not necessarily in those words, but it's basically the programming that they're on. They're like, I'm looking for a husband. And you're like, okay, yeah, that's great. You're looking for a husband and all. But like, in order to get to husband, okay, we have to start like way before husband, okay? So like, husband's down there and there's a potential, but we gotta talk about other things first. And then they're just like, you see them thinking, and the smoke starts coming out of the ears, the gears start grinding, then they'll come back and they'll look at you and like, I'm looking for a husband. And you're like, I get that. I get you're looking for a husband. I get that, okay? But that's way down the road. Okay? We gotta like know each other's name first before we even talk about husband and stuff, okay? But the programming is so deeply ingrained that they're just, you try and talk some sense. You're like, before husband, we need to know each other's names first. And they're just like, you see it kind of going in, they're trying to think about it, they're like, I'm looking for a husband. And you're like, but if you came in and you're like, I'm looking for a wife, they're like, I'm looking for a husband. And then all of a sudden they're like, husband, wife, let's get married. And then they're like, that's just a very simplified version, but it's true. It's 100% true. Okay, I only talk about things that are true. And so it's real. This is real life. This is the programming that we are on. This is the programming that is in today's world. It is absolutely insane. And like I said, you can show these people facts, and it doesn't matter. It literally does not matter to them whatsoever. It's absolutely wild. You can literally just bring home a cold hard fact. It doesn't even have to be a difficult one. Could just be something along the lines of, hey, did you know that vaccinated people can spread the virus, catch the virus, and die from the virus just like unvaccinated people, as told to us by the CDC, your so-called trusted source. And if you say that to them, it just like blows their mind up. I don't know why. It's like I took that information from your source, not my source. Those aren't my words. That's straight from your source. But it's crazy. It's like their own programming it goes against each other. Like you're trying to tell a computer to, hey, I need you to close this window, but don't close the window, keep it open. I need you to shut down the computer right now, but while you're shutting down, make sure that you open these 3 programs. And then it's like no, I can't do those 2 things. It's either I do this or I do that. So that's why a lot of these people, they don't have their own beliefs, they don't have their own ideas, they don't have their own thoughts. They're manipulated, they're driven by the inputs that are put around them. And what are the inputs? Well, the education system are the inputs, the societal factors are the inputs, the advertising and marketing, the media, the news, it is everywhere. We are bombarded with this programming 24/7. And it's absolutely insane. And so we have our phones, our apps, our devices listening to us always, and trying to figure out how can we improve our algorithm with all the data that we are collecting from this individual. There's a reason why Google was putting a smart speaker in every single home out there. They were giving away smart speakers. I signed up for Spotify, I got a smart speaker. You bought a TV, you got a smart speaker. You freaking used the public toilet, you got a smart speaker. Not because Google was generous and they're like, oh, out of the goodness of our hearts, we feel that people need to have this device in their home so that they are safe and always have good information. No, it's because they are collecting more and more information, so they know how to manipulate you more and more. And so then these people are just running on this programming that it's not their ideas, it's not their thoughts, it's not their beliefs. And you can easily tell that when you have the ability to be able to challenge them and say, hey, if if you trust so much in the Prime Minister, did you know that last just a few months ago he said that he would not mandate anything? If you trust so much in the Bonnie Henry, who's our medical person in, I think it's BC, I don't know, but people trust her so much. It's like, did you know that she was totally against masks, and she time and time again came out saying that masks don't work and they're not there to protect people? Did you know that, Dr. Fauci said it too? So you give them information that it goes against their programming, but it's like their programming only takes the latest programming, and it's almost as if their programming is designed to say, hey, don't take programming from any other sources except this. So if another application on your phone is trying to get access to the camera, well, you're not going to give it access to the camera. If your WhatsApp is trying to get access to your files, well, it's only going to get access to your files unless you give it permission. So it's almost like they've designed the programming to say, hey, get only your information, and the only people who can access your information and write data to this disk drive is only these sources that have permission to. Like, if I try to write to an SD card or a thumb drive, I don't have the ability to be able to do that. Sorry, I'm just coming up to a slow zone here. So I don't have the ability to be able to write to that drive unless I have permission in order to write to that drive. So it is almost like that's what they've created, and they've been able to just say, hey, this is the programming that we are going to write into this person's biological mind, computer mind, and it is working beautifully. It is working absolutely beautifully, because here I come, not a trusted source apparently, even though I get a lot of my information from their very own trusted source, that it still doesn't comprehend whatsoever. You can send them, yeah, it's very weird. It's very weird programming, but it is programming in the end, at the end of the day. And so that is basically like what I mean about living in the simulation. And so they've realized that, so let's say this is actually a real world. It's not a simulated world, but it's a real world, and they've actually just created that, hey, these are just biological computers, and with a computer, if we input certain data, then we are able to get an output from it, and we are able to have it do and think however we want it to. And so that's what they've done. So it's almost like they've created a simulation out of the real world by taking advantage of the biological computers that we are. And so very, very interesting. Who knows? But yeah. Anyways, I hope that you enjoyed that little bit of fascination of the world that we live in today. There are a lot of interesting videos that are out there. There's all kinds of theories, all kinds of things. I'm always kind of looking at it, always looking at different things to try and make sense of this world. How can we actually, how can I have empathy towards somebody? How can I feel for them? It's not their fault that they were growing up having this information pumped into them, either by family, by the media, by all this stuff, and it really takes somebody strong in order to be able to go against all of that, because really to break through from that programming and that system, that's a huge pill to swallow, and it's you have to basically say, wow, so much of what I believed, so much of who I am, so much of what I think is not even me whatsoever. You know, I have beliefs from my childhood because of my parents. I have beliefs from my adulthood because of my circle of friends. I have beliefs because of whatever, media. And so nobody wants to admit that they are manipulated by advertisements. Nobody wants to admit that they are manipulated by government media. Nobody, who wants to admit this stuff? And so, oh man, there's a deer in the road. He's beautiful. He's right up there. But don't want to hit him. So yeah, who wants to admit that? So when you unplug yourself from the system, you are admitting that you were wrong. And admitting that you are wrong is never easy. It's one of the hardest things ever. So that's why I always say that you're going after somebody's belief system when you try to challenge them. You give them information, and so you give somebody good information, it short circuits them because it goes against everything, and then it's uncomfortable. But if they can feel through that uncomfortableness, they can break through and realize, holy shit, all my struggles, all my pains, all my worries, all my thoughts, ideas, beliefs are not even real at the end of the day. So it's a crazy world. People are interesting, and we do try to have some sort of empathy for these people, even though they seem psychotic. At the end of the day, it is not their fault, because really they are literally brainwashed. Okay, MK Ultra is real, brainwashing is real, programming is real, and just take a look at this world. There's nothing conspiracy about it. How did I break free of it? I don't really know. Maybe we'll talk about that in another podcast episode, Unplugged Freedom Podcast. Check it out. And I was in the military. There's a lot of things talking about people in the military. It's a very programming kind of situation, and I broke free from it. It was something that I wanted to do my whole entire life. Going through high school, I was in Army Cadets for 5 years. I was very successful at it, and I wanted to join the Army, and I did. I fulfilled that dream, only to realize, holy smokes, this is not what I want. And so how I broke free from it, I don't know. It was just there were other ideas and thoughts as to why, but and how, but yeah. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed it. Take a look at this crazy world that we live in. It's nuts. And so right now I'm about to move out of my place. A lot of uncertainty coming this way, and I hope that I see you on the other end. And so we'll fight to the bitter end. We won't give in. Keep our dignity. Keep our integrity. They can come at me. They can threaten me. They can bribe me. They can coerce me. They can do whatever the fuck they want to try to do to me. But no amount of it will ever make me fall victim to their bullshit that they're trying to pull right now. And so we have to band together. We have to stick together. We will fight this. We're headed for a storm. It's going to be ugly. It's not going to be fun. That's not being negative. That's not being cynical. That's just being real with the situation and the direction that we're in. So we just have to batten down the hatches and prepare for the worst, and go from there. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Talk to you later. All right. Maybe I'll talk to you on the way back. All right. See ya.